Hey, John here again. So I've got this Z Master Toro, big ass mower here. It's got like a 6-foot deck on it for, I don't know, it's all about the swath. But anyways, it came to me, customer, guy that owns it says, can you rebuild this engine? I'm like, okay, why? He said it's burning like a quart a day of oil. I'm like, well, okay, and you want the engine rebuilt? He says, yeah. I don't know, so I'm not asking any questions. I said, sure, I can do it. So anyways, thought I'd take you along, see what kind of trouble I can get into. It looks like a Kohler engine there, and I got to take that engine out, make life easier. I don't know where the seat is. It was already missing, so that's going to make it a little easier. But let me start disassembling stuff and yank this engine out, and hopefully see why it was burning oil first of all. But there is a couple of things that I noticed that, you know, I can't. He said it ran good, so I don't know. For instance, hold on a second. Let me take it closer. Like for instance, this intake, he said it ran good, so I'm a little skeptical. And I told him I can rebuild this thing, but now hearing it run, battery's dead. I said, I'll do whatever you want, but I'm just going to replace, I got to see what I'm going to get into here. I mean, honestly, he said this thing ran. This whole intake is loose. And there's some wires down here that look like they're spliced together with butt joints, blue plastic butt joints, you know, the non-exterior kind. So I should really charge this battery, see if this thing does run. Maybe it'd be a good idea to do that first. But other than that, I am just going to yank this engine out and go through it, see what it needs. So let's get started. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to see if this thing starts, because if it doesn't start, I'll know something's fishy. Totally dead battery. I guess it's been sitting on for a year, not running. So let's, the seat's not on there, but it looks like this is taped up, so I don't know if it's going to start or not. Emergency brakes on. Let's see. Let's give it a whirl. Oh, I hear a fuel pump. Wow. That's it. It is running. Even with this thing. Huh. Well, does start, does run. I guess first order of business is taking that belt off, and you see there's a mount here that I can hook onto, and looks like one back here too, and a few electrical connections. Because this is fuel injected, a little different than I'm used to, but I'm going to leave this module. I'm going to take it off the frame. Hopefully all this electrical will stay with the motor. There might be a clip in there where it hopefully just disconnects real easy, so everything will be dangling. I do have to disconnect the starter, but other than that, I'm hoping that this thing will, a couple of bolts down there, will the harness, everything will come right out of there. Pretty sure it's just 4 bolts, just like a standard small engine. Of course, I'll have to unhook that electric clutch and the belt, but hopefully this thing will just pop right out of there. Wow, that's cool. It's got a little oil cooler on it. Huh. It says it's burning a quart, like, per mo. I'm like, is it coming out the exhaust? Is it, you know, I had a couple of questions. He's no, it's just burning oil. Can you rebuild it? Kept asking me, can you rebuild it? I'm like, yeah, I guess, but I got to look at it. So let me take it apart, see what those heads look like, see what the pistons look like, see what's doing. Hopefully this is just pistons and rings and gaskets, and this thing will stop leaking oil, but can't know until we get it out. Anyways, let me hook some chain up to it. Let me show you what I did so far. So obviously disconnect the battery. I took it out actually. I just got to put it on a charge. Well, then unhook this fuel pump. Fuel filter here, because when I lift this engine out, I want basically everything, as much as I can, to come out with it. and this cable here was hooked to the starter, so I took that off. And the computer, this you know, this, I don't really normally work on commercial stuff, but I'll this guy do it. So you know, I just bagged everything up. It looks like most of this harness will come out with the engine. Looks that way. There is a I don't know if you can see it in there. The engine one of the bolts has a maybe it's a better look there, you know, grounds to it. So when I lift this up, hopefully I can get in there and we're actually just taking that engine bolt out. That might just come off of there, but there's two of them actually now that I see. So I'm gonna have to hoist this up a little bit, see if I can get to it and see what comes and see what stays, see what comes with it. All this stuff is this bolt there, I took it off the from right there just because I'm hoping all this stuff will come right up with it if I don't break anything. Unhook the clutch, or the belt rather. Let me get underneath here. Oh, I took the air filter off because of course I'm going to hoist this up. It's kind of in a way. What else I take off? I unhooked the clutch, just unclipped it. Now I'm going to leave this harness here, even though it looks like it's attached to it. I just there was a little zip tie there holding that harness there, but looks like the rectifier, it was just holding that harness up, and that harness goes back underneath the engine. It does connect to this doohickey here. Again, I don't really work on commercial stuff, so this must be some kind of fuel pressure regulator. I'm going to leave that all intact, hopefully. Oh, and this bolt here, let's see if I can get this better shot here. That's for your clutch there, so it's just kind of dangling. Hopefully that'll come out. And this is the belt for the clutch. That's their idler there. I just pushed it forward, get the belt off of there. So I'm just going to attack from underneath here and see if I can get a shot of that. Yep, can't see them there. Well, there's a couple of them there. There's 4 bolts. They're kind of right at the same location. The other ones are just above this rail. But so I'm just going to zap them off, and hopefully everything will just lift off of here. Alright, bolts are out. Let's see what kind of trouble we get into. Oh, wow. Wow. Show you what I'm talking about here. I think the only thing left to do is disconnect. Where are we at here? I still got that ground down there. I don't know if you can see it in there. I got to disconnect that. That's just a washer there. This ground here, can't get my hand in there. Disconnect that. That's holding that. And what else? And I'm thinking just this harness, just unplug that. It looks like the only thing that's holding this thing up. All this stuff here is just dangling. Yeah, let me just I gotta remember to, before I put it in, because that's gonna be, you can't get to that when it's down. I think that's the only thing. Yeah, see, this harness just went underneath. We're just sitting on it, so clean all this up. Yeah, you can leave that fuel pressure regulator, everything intact. There's the clutch. So we're good. Cool. Oh, no we're not. Look at that. Forgot my, oops. This, didn't stress it out or nothing. I gotta unhook the throttle cable. What's wrong with you, dude? Well, she's out. So next move is put it up on a bench and start taking things apart. And so as that thing's draining oil, I can't stress enough, just take loads and loads of pictures all around this doohickey, and because you're going to probably need it, because it's probably going to be a minute or two before this thing's back together, yeah? And then they'll be like, well, where did this go? So anyways, I'm going to start taking all this crap apart. This front piece off. I don't know, start from the top down, whatever, exhaust, take that off. Just start dismantling stuff and filling up crates with parts, and do your best at labeling stuff. But like I said, just snap pictures. It ain't like you got to go to the photo mart and get them developed, yeah? Just a smartphone, loads of pictures. So let me start tearing this thing apart. Probably take this pulley off first and just start dismantling. That's all there is to it. And look, this poor fella didn't make it. Escargot. Oh boy, he's been here in a while. Wake up, buddy. You dead. Alright, so unlike a typical intake, you can't just unbolt it and take it off, because you know the injectors, everything's wired up. So I did, you know, don't forget to take your linkage off there, this linkage here, but I'm hoping I can get away with disconnecting the least amount of wires and just letting this dangle, just because I don't know, there's a lot involved as far as you know, where these wires go. But it looks like it's, you know, a typical injector. You undo this clip and it'll probably pop out, but as you can see, it's a loosey-goosey, got a few wires involved. And you know, really, is that an O2 sensor? I mean, admittedly, this is the first time I've worked on a fuel injected small engine. Anyways, just kind of curious. I really don't want to take all this stuff off, but if I have to, I have to. This just looks like a holder here. And then what? Does it all come apart? Can I just throw it in a corner and be okay with that? Yeah, I don't know. It looks like some kind of you know, crank sensor type deal. It's got teeth there. Gee whiz, I don't know what to do here. Looks like it's pulling on it a little bit. Looks like I can get that, I don't know. Does look like it's just one bolt, that sensor. Maybe where do these wires go? Oh boy, they go under here. Oh, looks like it goes to here, which just looks like some kind of oil sending unit or something. Alright, keep going. I really didn't expect all this, but it is what it is. So hopefully all this will come off in one piece. Take lots of pictures. That's all I can say. Well, it's definitely a first for me. Who knew a intake manifold had crank sensors, wiring harnesses, injectors? It's a small engine, man. It's basically a car. Anyways, so that's all. Eesh, that's all apart. Let me see. Oh, just popped. She just popped. So I didn't break anything. Yeah. Doesn't look too. Magnets are still intact. Ooh, no, it's not. Look at that. Dang. It's a magnet. I really don't want to buy another one of these. That is a loose magnet. If I've ever seen one. Yeah, it is. I mean, they do stick to it, but when these are loose and unglued like that, they tend to, this thing's going to be wicked expensive. Alright, cool. Can't believe they didn't break off. I really can't. They always break off. Get these last two out of here, these big honkers. It'd be nice if this thing just fell off of here, huh? Get a little hungry. those 2 bolts. Let's see if she'll come off without breaking anything. Yeah, we're getting closer. See if this clutch will come off, no problem. I would say no problem, but honestly that it's torqued down there pretty good. Well, let's see how this thing's gonna play out. Oh, no, she's coming off. She's coming off. Maybe. Drop my hand. And there's your... Alright, so I'm going to take this this whole piece off here, but there's just 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. You probably can't see this, but it's hidden by this plate here. So there's a bolt and a nut there. I'm assuming this thing comes, I don't know why they did it that way, but so the first thing you need to do is the governor. You got to unhook your spring. But like I said, take a bunch of pictures. It's in the 3rd hole here, but take a bunch of pictures. Remove your spring. Let it I wouldn't remove it completely. Just let it dangle, but it was in the 3rd hole, so now your governor's free. So now you can take all this stuff off. Well, it appears that I can get to 1, 2, 3 bolts. This one, it's like running underneath this governor. I really don't want to take this governor off and reset that because everything was working fine. So I guess I'm going to try my luck at a wrench and getting that bolt out. Is it 10? It's a 10. Getting that bolt out this way. So I'll wrench that out, take this out. Hopefully this tin valley will come. Oops, looks like it's in 2 pieces. Looks like it's in 2 pieces. I have to remember that. As far as these rocker arms and push rods, it's not like you can adjust them, so I'm just going to throw them in a baggie. I am going to keep number 2 with number 2 cylinder head here once I take it off. But as far as, these just get seated down, so it's not like you need to know anything. But however, let's see here. Now these are the same. Sometimes you have an aluminum one and a steel one, whether it's on the exhaust or the intake, but these 2 are the same. They're both, alright, oh boy, it's getting old. Let's see what this thing looks like under here. Oh, there's your bolt. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what she looks like. Yeah. Washer and dryer. Alright, so the cylinder head's off, and it appears to be okay to me. There is some, I don't know if you can make that out. Of course I don't have my glasses on, but there is some scoring on the cylinder walls. But it does look okay to me. But I'm actually going to have an expert look at this, because the head looks fine too. A little bit of carbon buildup there, which is probably normal. It didn't appear to be like anything abnormal to me, but I'm not an expert. It's not my wheelhouse, so I am going to send these heads out to get redone. Probably cheap enough, but I didn't take the other side off yet. This is just number 2 side, but I did reach down in there. Again, I don't know if the camera's picking that up. It is scored. So minus the fuel injected part and you know, the tone ring and all that crap. A lot of crap behind here. Look at all these acorns. Can't even believe this thing doesn't have any missing teeth. Minus all that, all this stuff's pretty much the same for the Kohler, you know, engine. All these shrouds. I remember being the exact same thing as far as these pieces being separate and all that business. Gotta lose all this stuff. There's so much gunk. Just trying to get the stator up, but here's what I remember. This piece here, you don't want to screw this up as far as, this is just a little bridge, but it's gapped. So I'm going to keep kind of these things together. I just wanted to get the stator off. I loosened, oh man, I thought I loosened them up. I thought I loosened them up. I'm going to get the stator off and kind of loosely put this. That's your stator. Anyways, oh wow, not even any light in here. I don't expect that. So after you get all these 10mm, you know, bolts out, I just there's a little piece up to the top here. Let me see that. Little piece up to the top. I just take a rubber hammer and whatever, just whack it until it breaks free, because the gasket, you know, is going to be stuck to it. Plus, it's got these dowel pins that are, you know, in there. And then I kind of just basically use, you know, tenderly, gingerly, whatever you want to, you know, pry it out, and then the rest should come out. Nothing should fall out of here. The gears for your governor and you know, everything should stay intact, but just slip it off this crankshaft. If you got pieces that fall off from this, you probably have some issues. Here's what I was talking about here. There's a marking here and here, and if you rotate this, it should line up. Oop, it should line up. Slippery, because I didn't take anything apart yet. Come on, turn. So when you put everything back together after you take everything apart, those markings, obviously, they got to be together, and that's about that. So kind of, so far everything looks good so far, you know, nothing stands out. Not sure if it was just because you can see here there's a lot of oil missing here. I don't know if the head gasket was just, you know, if it was leaking from the head down, getting out past here. I don't know yet. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get gasket set. The whole works. Gaskets, piston rods, the pistons, the rings, and we're just going to rebuild this thing. Call it a fix. So let me keep going. Now when you pull this cam gear out, it'll slip out, but your lifters are going to fall in there, so I go ahead with a magnet and just try to get them out first. This way nothing's really banging around in there. You can just let them fall. I guess it won't hurt anything, but I'll try to take them out first. Then you can take your gear out. And it doesn't appear anything wrong with that. There's no markings as far as, you know, it doesn't look worn. Actually, there is a little score there. Taking the pistons out, really simple chore. I already took one out, but just crack your it's 10mm base end caps there for your rod. Take the bolts out and basically just push this piston up through the hole, you know. I took this side out. It actually looked good. There doesn't look anything wrong with it. But again, I'm replacing at least the rings. At least the rings. I can't read, you know, the walls or anything like that. I'm not that experienced. So if there's scratches on the walls of the piston and or the bore, that to me really doesn't mean anything. As far as, you know, it could be normal, could be, oh yeah. I mean, obviously if there's a big gap in there, the big scratch, that'd be one thing, but let me take this out. So all now you do is push the whole rod and piston up through the hole. Take her out. Oop, I don't know if that's on the TV, and then just pull it out the rest of the way. And there you have it. One piston, set of rings. Again, it doesn't look that bad, but let me take it on the bench. So my next move is just to pull this crank out, which is easy, but I don't disturb the governor. I always leave it intact, just because, especially if the machine was working before, I don't mess with that. I got to power wash this, but I'm going to leave all that intact. I do have to take this upper piece off, clean in there, and get because the new gaskets have that gasket up there too. But this should just pull right out of here. Yeah. So let me take all the stuff over to the bench here and see if we can see anything good.